All right, so you've done it. You've gotten through the local Devon setup. I hope you have. Again, hopefully you know that we're here to support you, and this is really okay to run into some issues here, but the important thing is to reach out for help, right? That's in life. Reaching out for help is always a great idea, and coding is like mandatory. Okay, so what this video is going to walk you through what you need to do to complete the code along for section 1. And I've written some instruction here just to give you what I'm about to show you in case you want to read, which I always recommend doing that. But I've given you a link to the course again, and you're going to work through section 1. Now, before I jump in and just do this, I want to show you that he actually writes some code on video too. He does it and there's different ways to talk about this in the command line for Python, which is totally cool. And I love the way he shows the site that actually walks you through how the code runs. These are all good things. But what for our assignment, this is the one that you're going to follow along. You can, totally okay. I recommend it if you have time to also do the actual coding in a file that you can submit, like I'm going to show here, that is required. You could also do this for this one. The more you learn, the more you know. Okay? All right, so first thing is and I've gone through now by the way, from now on, you're going to see me code in my natural environment, which is on a Mac. And in this case, I have created my repos out on our course GitHub. I've created my git ignore file. The one thing I did notice this morning as I was doing this is, in case you run into this, maybe it's too late to tell you, for the git ignore, you actually, when you do the git add, have to add that one specific. You can't use the wildcard, won't do it, won't take it. But in this directory, in your private repo directory in our course, we're going to create a new directory in here. So first highlight that just so it's active. And again, you could use the command line, which is totally fine. And remember, in the command line, I'm going to do this. I'm just going to show that pwd shows the current directory that you're in. If you open it like I do, you totally can open just the repo you're working in. That's totally fine as well. It's really up to you and your workflow. I personally like to have them both open. That's just me. So what I would do in this case, now why am I going at the command line? I haven't even done anything yet, because I want to just get you used to the fact of running at the command line. You're going to see in a minute when we run Python code in here, you can run it in the browser, but you can run it also in the command line. So I'm going to move into my private here. Cool. And again, you can now use whichever interface is more comfortable to you. Like if I was to do here, mkdir, and I'm going to recommend, I thought about this a little bit, I usually use the name of the course that we're using on Udemy, but that's such a long name, even abbreviating it would be crazy. So I'm just going to have you make a folder called Udemy so you know that it's out there, or where this code is coming from. And notice how VS Code automatically adds that into your what's called your File Explorer interface. So in here, now I'm going to change into my Udemy, right? I could do the same thing by going over here and using this interface, because I'm going to create another directory now that I'm in here, mkdir, and I'm going to call this S1. So for each section, you're going to have a different folder, and it just helps organize this content, because I notice when working through the course with him, he names things maybe after he codes them, and for our purposes, not the greatest idea. So we like to name things, and I will give you more specific when you move through some of the other sections. Okay, I'm going to clear that right there. All right, so now we have, and if you're looking at the VS Code interface, you do notice that these things get put like this, and they look like they're at the same level, and it's only because there's no file in here as soon as you create one, which we're about to do. Now, again, you could do this at the command line, or we're going to do this now on this interface of VS Code. So now that I have my S1 selected, my section 1, I'm going to create a new file. Okay, I'm going to call this hello.js. Now, I'm trying to remember his file name. I'll go look at that in a minute. Maybe there's a file name specific that he did. But in general, I just want you to see this. And then you could do print F. I think it's just print here. And then do, single quotes. Oh, you know what? Actually, that's something I think I got to get used to. Hello, Python, right? But I also, okay. So that's my, look at this. Look what I did. Oh, the old habits die hard. I put JS. Yeah, old habits die hard. Okay, since I did that, let's go back and look what he names. Oh, he does. Hello.py. So again, my muscle memory has to kick in here. So under, it's, I leave mistakes in my videos just because we're human and we make them. So it's actually going to be called hello.py. Now, this will now change the, notice the icon changes here. So again, right? And so, and if I look over here, right, he is using, see, hello. Well, there we go. That's cool. Now, in this case, right, I could run this here. I could totally run it from here. Matter of fact, run with debugging, run without debugging, and it would totally run and boom, print out that. So that is one way you can run it from the interface of VS Code. I'm going to clear this. I'm going to go look at what directory. Okay, so I'm still in that directory. So what I'm going to do, I wonder why it changed. Oh, it changed to the Python debugger. Let me go back to bash. So these are all just things you learn as you learn the interface. Let's see, I think I'm in that directory. So now I'm going to move into S1. I'm going to show you the other way to do this. I'm going to clear this and I'm going to go Python and I'm going to do hello.py. And that, to me, that's the way I would want to run code. You can totally, and we're going to learn the debugger over time. Always good to do. There's just a lot more content, which is good. Again, as you write more code, right? It's good to do that. So I'm going to pause real quick and code up this last example. Okay, that was fun. Following along with him. He really does a nice job. And I love the site that he built here to show what this code is doing. This is all such great stuff. Okay, so I'm just going to show you that mine ran. Again, I'm running it from the command line. I'm in the right directory. I'm going to run Python here. And so I'm going to run Rio. I'm going to say I'm 55 and it's going to say I'm 56 in a year. So it works. That's great. Okay. So now let's actually move to the place there where you do the Git workflow, which this should become pretty familiar to you, right? But you'll get more experience if I can make a pun there. This time I'm going to do Git add star. Okay, I didn't do Git status, so let's do that now. So now I'm adding a new file into my local repo. Okay, and then I'm going to do Git Commit. Now this is where -m. I want you to be code along section 1, video 3. Now, what will happen is starting next week, you will then, after each video that you code along with, right, you'll give a commit message for that. Because sometimes I think most of the time he codes, but if he's just covering a concept, then obviously you don't have a commit message there. Cool? All right. So, by the way, notice how there's a coding, like it's helping you understand that this is changing because of the Git workflow that we're doing. You can do this over here. I don't recommend it. Now, the reason I don't recommend it is that I tell this to all my programming students. You want to learn the command line first and then learn the easier ways to do it. Because trust me, at some point, I've just heard this many times, and it's true, I believe, is that somebody's going to ask you to work on the command line versus the interfaces that make our lives easier. Those are good to use once you understand the command line. So that's why. Now, in this case, I've added it, and now I'm going to do git push. because I've committed it. So now I've done a git push, and I'm going to move the browser over to, I should have already logged in. Sorry about that. I believe I am logged in, and I'm going to move to our repo, our organization. This was done on the private repo. And I should have shown you this before, but now you can see this here. Now I'm going to move into the directory. So this code was successfully pushed out to GitHub. This week, I'm going to have you just give me the URL that points to that subfolder. Starting next week, I'm going to have you do commits. Okay, you'll see that next week. Okay, so let's actually submit the assignment now. And here you have, ooh, I'm so glad I saw that. Sorry, you're going to see a little back end work here of what I do. Because in this case, you're going to have a URL that you're going to submit. Now, I think I'm going to leave this also. If you have any problems doing this first assignment, you can also work with GitHub on the interface out here. This is something, as my students are taking intro to web development, I allow them for the first couple of weeks this interface, just because I know that working in a local environment, there's other various things that could happen, right? So as an example, the reason I'm also going to allow this only this time is that you can also just provide me the file if for some reason, again, you're going to need to get help on this. I hope you don't have to do this, okay? But I am kind of giving you a little back end. I am going to give you this option only this week because I know it's a lot. It's the first week of the semester, okay? So let me show you this. I'm going to switch over to the student view. We have already worked through. Now that I've worked through this, again, we've worked through all of these items. We're ready to actually come down here. And this is where you're going to submit the, now notice here, and again, this is almost, I don't want to do it because of this, because it's going to default into file. Hopefully most of you, I hope all of you, actually submit the URL. Okay, but again, you're only getting this option this week to kind of just help you if you run into various issues, but starting next week, you will only see this URL. Okay, submit the assignment, you are good to go. Last thing I will say is if you are in this course, you got through the first week and you're itching to start the second, let me know, because I will put content out there. As of this recording, there is no content for week 2 yet, but I probably will have it done probably in the next week or so, and I'm definitely before the semester starts. Thanks, and I'll talk to you soon.